Have you ever felt like the world is moving on without you, leaving you behind in solitude? You try to connect, but the bonds seem to break, and the silence grows louder. It's as if Allah is pulling you away from everyone and everything. But why? My dear brothers and sisters, this isolation is not a punishment. It is preparation. Allah isolates the ones He chooses to refine, protect, and guide towards something far greater. Today, we'll explore 7 profound reasons why Allah isolates the chosen ones, reasons that carry a wisdom most of us fail to see. Before we begin, reflect on this. What if this loneliness you're feeling is Allah's way of calling you closer to Him, away from the noise of the world? Let's find out why Allah isolates you, and how this could be the greatest blessing of your life. 1. Isolation to protect your heart. Have you noticed how, when you're surrounded by people, your heart can easily get distracted, caught up in fleeting conversations, worldly comparisons, or even harmful influences? Sometimes, Allah pulls you away, not to punish you, but to protect your heart. Think of a precious gem, kept away from anything that could scratch or dull its shine. That's how Allah views your heart. He knows that being around certain people or environments could corrode its purity. Imagine this. You've been surrounded by friends or colleagues who subtly mock your faith or encourage you to stray from it. You compromise just a little here, a little there, but then suddenly those same people drift away, leaving you confused and hurt. Yet, in hindsight, wasn't this Allah saving you from something that could harm your connection with Him? It's hard to see at the moment, but this distance is His mercy. It's a chance to reset, to purify, and to align your heart solely with Him. Let this isolation remind you of the ayah, "So do not weaken, and do not grieve, and you will be superior if you are true believers." Surah Al-Imran 3:139. The loneliness you feel is actually a space for Allah to fill with His love, His guidance, and His peace. 2. Isolation to refine your character. Have you ever noticed how when you begin to work on yourself, the noise of the world seems to fade away? Allah isolates you to refine your character, to strip away distractions and unnecessary chatter. When you're surrounded by opinions, distractions, or unhealthy relationships, it's nearly impossible to connect deeply with Allah. Solitude forces you to confront who you really are and what truly matters. Maybe it's a habit you've been ignoring, or a weakness you've been hiding. Allah isolates you, not to punish you, but to help you grow. Think about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He withdrew to the cave of Hira before receiving the revelation. Those moments of solitude weren't just about physical isolation, they were spiritual preparation. In the same way, your moments of isolation could be Allah's way of preparing you for something greater. Yes, it's not easy. Being alone sometimes feels heavy, even painful. You may wonder why people who were once close to you are suddenly distant. But not everyone is meant to walk with you on this journey. Some are seasonal companions, and others are here to teach you lessons. That's okay. The discomfort of solitude is temporary, but the clarity and strength it brings can last a lifetime. It's in these moments that you learn to depend on Allah fully, without relying on anyone else. 3. Isolation strengthens your relationship with Allah. Have you ever felt like no one truly understands what you're going through? Even when you try to explain your struggles, it feels like no one resonates with you? This isn't random. It's a divine invitation. When Allah isolates you, it's His way of drawing you closer to Him. In times of ease, we often rely on people, family, even material comforts. But in solitude, when those crutches are removed, you're left with the one who has always been there for you, Allah. How many times have you turned to Him with your whole heart, your tears flowing, only when you had no one else to turn to? Isolation forces you into deep reliance. Allah is saying, "Come to me, let me be enough for you." This spiritual journey is about growth, not about distancing from others permanently. It's about temporarily stepping back to recharge, realign, and reconnect with Allah. When you return to the community, you do so with a stronger sense of purpose. 4. Isolation as a training ground. Every time you're about to grow, something or someone is removed from your life. Perhaps a friendship you thought was unbreakable, or a support system you relied on for years. Now, suddenly it's gone. Isolation isn't rejection, it's refinement. Allah removes distractions and attachments that could cloud your path. This period of solitude sharpens your focus and teaches you lessons you couldn't learn in comfort. Think about Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. When he was thrown into the well, he was isolated and stripped of his family's support. But that isolation wasn't abandonment. It was preparation. In the silence of that well, and later in prison, Yusuf, peace be upon him, was being molded into a leader. The struggles you face in isolation are the very tools Allah uses to refine you. Use this time to look inward and upward. Ask yourself, what is Allah teaching me through this? The solitude isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. 5. Allah's plan requires patience. Sometimes it feels like your life is stuck in a holding pattern. You're watching others move forward, but you seem to be standing still. It's frustrating, isn't it? But Allah's delay is not His denial. Sometimes He isolates you because He's preparing something far greater. The waiting period is not wasted time. It's an essential part of the process. Think of it like a cocoon. Just as a caterpillar must endure stillness to emerge as a butterfly, your isolation is a phase of transformation. Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, spent years in the wilderness herding sheep, which to many seemed like a step backward, but in reality, it was exactly what he needed to become the leader Allah destined him to be. Patience isn't passivity, it's active trust in Allah's timing. Use this period to build yourself spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, so when the moment comes, you're ready for what Allah has planned for you. 6. Isolation refines your intentions. When you're alone, the silence can feel unbearable. It makes you question everything, including your intentions. Isolation is where your intentions are purified. Surrounded by people and their opinions, it's easy to get lost in seeking approval. But in solitude, Allah invites you to reflect. Why am I doing this? Is it for people or for Allah alone? Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, faced solitude when he was isolated from his people for his unwavering belief in Allah. His isolation became the foundation of his strength. It wasn't about pleasing his community. It was about earning Allah's pleasure. How often do we get caught up in trying to meet the world's expectations? In isolation, Allah gives you the chance to break free from that trap. Ask yourself, if no one was watching, would you still pray with the same dedication? Would you still give charity? Would you still strive to improve yourself? Isolation reveals your true intentions and purifies your heart, leaving you face to face with your sincerity. 7. Isolation prepares you for your unique role. When Allah isolates you, He's preparing you for a mission that only you can fulfill. Your journey is unique, and Allah isn't isolating you to break you. He's preparing you for a role that only you can play. Think about Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him. His time in isolation prepared him to become a leader who would save nations from famine. Perhaps your journey is also unique. Maybe you're being strengthened to be the anchor for your family or a source of guidance for your community. The world needs people who have walked through fire, faced loneliness, and emerged stronger. Allah isn't isolating you to break you. He's isolating you to prepare you for something greater. Trust in His plan, because your isolation is the prelude to something transformative. Conclusion. So, my dear brothers and sisters, as we've explored together, isolation is not a punishment, it's preparation. Allah is elevating you, refining you, and bringing you closer to Him. Every tear, every moment of loneliness, every silent prayer, it's all part of His divine plan. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, spent time in the cave of Hira, away from the noise of the world, and it was in that solitude that he received the first revelation, an event that changed the course of history. Your isolation too could be the beginning of something transformative. If this message resonates with you, reflect and share your thoughts in the comments below. A simple phrase like, Ya Allah, help me find strength in my solitude can inspire not just you, but others on the same journey. Before you leave, consider watching the video suggested at the end. It complements everything we've discussed today. May Allah guide us all, strengthen our faith, and make our trials a means of drawing closer to Him. Ameen. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.